Okay, here we are with the fourth and final piece on turning your business around, and this is going to be a bit on help that you can get for this, but it's on cash management too. You remember I went straight to telling you about getting your priorities straight, and I told you to pay your employees first, your suppliers and vendors next, and then yourself last. Okay, that's on this list. So I'm saying it again, I've just said it again. Fix your priorities and manage your cash that way. And do yourself a favor. So you give yourself the discipline of not digging a deeper hole. All right? These things that you do, you know, selling some stuff here and there and, you know, whatever it is you're doing, letting somebody go, da-da-da. These things are going to take some immediate pressure off. Usually a business that's in trouble is just got pressure on them. They have pressure of all of the trouble they created in the past, which is now quite a pile, all right? But you're only adding to that pile a little tiny bit at a time. You know, you're not loading it up big every single day. You're loading it on just another few bucks every single day. So here's what you can do. You just took the big pressure off. I mean, the big pile is still there. We'll talk about the big pile next. But now we're going to talk about kind of eating the elephant. You're going to fix this stuff a little at a time. Any supplier that hasn't cut you off already, or your landlord, or whoever it is that, you know, I hope you haven't paid some guy named Guido. Actually, I'll tell a little story at the end of this, okay? If there's time for it, if there's time. Yeah, I'm thinking about this story. So put yourself on COD. Just call up anybody that hadn't cut you off and say, you know, listen, I have got my business in not a good situation, and now take responsibility. If you blame it on something else, you know, people don't want to hear about how it's something that, listen, you can smell a lie a mile away, and you know what? The people you deal with can too. So, you know, don't try to BS them. Every BSer ever knows another BSer anyhow, so just don't. Take responsibility for your past actions. Say, you know, listen, I got myself in a pickle basically because I paid myself first, and I put those days behind me. I'm going to do it right from here on out. But I got a load on top of me. It's going to take me a while to get this thing fixed. So here's what I'd like to ask you. You know, I'd like to keep dealing with you, and I want to put myself on COD. And COD plus 10%. Now, there's two kinds of 10% you might put yourself on. And you decide which one makes sense, you and the person that you're indebted to. Is that 10% of what you owe them per order, or is that 10% of the order? You know, the business I was in, selling supplies, what really usually made sense was, you know, if you're spending $100 today, you know, give me 110. And that, you know, that helped a lot of fellas get out of spots that they were in. And, you know, a lot of guys, by the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but you got in trouble not totally all by yourself. I do know that guys make plans on their customers paying them. That's living a little too close to the edge. You want to get so you have more cushion in your life than dependent on your customers to do their part, because your customers aren't going to do their part all the time either, okay? And I know that creates trouble for you. So anyway, put yourself on COD. It'll do you good. And that leads into the next thing. Negotiate. But when I say negotiate with people that you owe money to, I'm not talking about negotiating your bill down. Don't do that. It's kind of cheesy. I mean, it's one of the things that is often done. And if you're in a big enough trouble, maybe you're going to do that. But I really want to talk about just negotiating for better relations, or to keep good relations when it's all over, you would like your supplier to say, I like this customer, right? You want, if you like where you are, you don't want your landlord to say, I don't want to renew that dude's lease. You know, I'm glad this lease is coming to an end. You don't want that? Then buy yourself an honorable name, okay? By taking responsibility and telling people how you got into trouble, you've already done a bunch of that, right? Don't make promises you can't keep or won't keep. You know, it's easy to just have good intentions. You know, you're not really telling a lie, but you are telling an untruth. You don't have malice in your heart, but you're saying, I'll do this, and it's not going to happen. Don't say stuff that's not going to happen, right? So, cut some employee and just let them go on unemployment. Bring them back later if you can. But the employees that you keep, ask for help. Be transparent with your employees. Say, you know, listen, and take responsibility with them too. You know, believe me, the whole world understands that the ships that they're on are in storms, and they're just hoping they don't sink because they don't know what to do either. I want to tell you, you want people to think that there's somebody at the helm of your ship, the guy that stands there and takes responsibility. They feel like, my God, somebody's actually running this place all of a sudden. I really feel good about this. And you know what? Your employees are probably willing to work harder and do a better job. And so the ones that you keep, it's going to work out better with those folks. All right, I would tell you this. Do not call a lawyer. Once you've called a lawyer, you've entered the twilight zone. Everything goes out of your hands. It goes into strange places. And it goes into places that I'm pretty sure you don't want to go. Right? If it's lawyer time, you're so far beyond fixing anything. I mean, lawyers don't fix anything. Don't do it. Okay. But the other thing to get help with is get help making cash flow projections. Now, I mentioned cash flow projections. Remember, I told you that little story about how guy says to, you know, I'm getting deeper in the hole with the guy, and he says, you don't know how to do cash flow projections, do you? And I said, well, I heard of them. All right. Well, I'm guessing that what that looks like now is you've heard of cash flow projections too, and you still don't have a clue how to do a cash flow projection. And you know what? Maybe I could tell you how to do a cash flow projection. Maybe I'll do a series on that. I'll think about that, okay? But in fact, it's probably, if you're in trouble, that's something that you don't, do figure it out. Figure it out. It'd be good. Or get help. But figuring out, get help. Get help. That's all I want to say on that. It'll make a big difference. It's one of the things that made a very short list, okay? Being transparent, don't call a lawyer, and getting cash flow projection made, getting help with that is a short list, okay? All right, last thing, and look at that. I'll go long so I can tell you my story at the end. But here's the last thing. There's a book by a guy named David Silver called The Turnaround Survival Guide. It's pretty dry stuff. It's written for businesses that are more sophisticated than most service businesses. So anyway, but David Silver's book was a good book. And David Silver is going to tell you all these same things he's going to tell you, and a lot more. Okay, a lot more detail. And he's going to tell you don't call the lawyer too. I think that's in his book. All right, so here's the story. I'll try to make it quick. All right, so one time a guy owed me a whole bunch of money, and he'd actually ripped me off. He planned this terrible, terrible thing. And anyway, the guy was a bum. He was. And I was a knucklehead. And anyway, he got into me. He got into me for $11,000. And at one time, he actually saw me at a trade show. And he threw, I can't remember if it was 10 or 11 cents or 6 cents. It was a penny and a nickel or a dime. And he said to me, it was a Popeyes in New Orleans. And he threw that on my plate and said, this is all the money you'll ever see from me. You know, he rubbed my nose in it. I mean, what a jerk. But anyhow, So I knew another fella in this business I was in, and he was a guy who's from New York, and he's an Italian fella. Okay, so he's a guy who knew guys, right? I didn't know guys. Anyway, he says to me, and I'll give you the head motion how he did it too. It was wonderful. And spoiler alert, I didn't take him up on the offer. Okay, he says to me, You want to get that money back? I said, yeah, I want to get that money back. He said, well, I can tell you how you can get back half of it, because the people that collect it get half. I said, well, yeah, what? And he says, my brother knows a guy. No kidding. He said it just like that. His brother knows a guy. So I suggest that, one, don't collect money that way, and two, don't borrow from the guys that his brother knows. Okay. By the way, that guy was a terrific guy. Right? He just offered me the opportunity. So don't borrow money from those fellas. It might end badly for you. Alrighty, enough on this. Go turn your business around. It can be done. It's going to take you adjusting your attitude, and then it happens pretty fast, actually. I mean, you'll see your business turned around right, and you'll be full of hope in fairly short order. Just, months, maybe weeks. I mean, it'll happen pretty quick. Alrighty, enough on it. See you for the next thing. Bye-bye. Hey friends, I hope this was useful to you. Would you do something for me? Would you please share this with anybody you know that ought to hear it too? And then, would you please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, right? That's kind of important on these things. Feel free to leave comments. All right, thanks a lot. And now get out there and do some winning.